right, we are back again. Another episode of Dynamics of Love and Marriage with Koole and Shay. What's up, baby?
What's up, babe? How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah. See you again.
Well, I'm grateful I get to see you every day.
Hey,
yeah,
what's up? Blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings. Yeah. So earlier this year, March of this year, we celebrated 25 years of marriage between you and I, right?
Yep.
And we did a series, 25 lessons from 25 years of marriage. Mm-hmm. And one of those posts, I said, it was titled, Being a Student of Your Spouse. And so today we want to expand on that and pretty much talk about that in this episode.
Yes.
So that's what this episode will be pertaining to. And so you want to kick it off?
Yes, so this past weekend we were blessed to be able to have our son, his sweet, beautiful girlfriend and her family came over to the house. And so I was like, I wonder, what should I cook? And I said, I'm going to cook Jamaican food. But when I say I am, Koole and we're going to do it together. And so I started thinking about, as we prepared all the food, the oxtails, the rice, all the stuff we prepared, I started thinking about, okay, so let me see how do I recall making this? And I started thinking about the thing, some of the things that you like as it relates to, the Jamaican food and cuisine. And then I started thinking about how did I get to learn about those things? Like, how did I get to learn how to make porridge? How did I learn how to make jerk chicken and curry and all the things I've learned how to make? And and I know porridge is your favorite.
Yeah, I'm on.
How did I learn how to do that? And it was because I had invested interest in learning about the things that you loved or desired, or I saw you get excited about. And so what that did early on in our marriage, once I saw your reaction to something, I was very much invested in learning more about it because I wanted to bring that reaction to you more. I enjoyed seeing that reaction in you. And so I thought about, man, I spent specific time with your grandmother because she was amazing, just a beautiful, beautiful soul. So whether I was traveling on business or whatever pleasure, I was very intentional about spending time with her. And she taught me a lot of things. And she taught me a lot of things about how to cook, the different things you love, the things that made you excited. But the other thing that I noticed that I got was that anytime you spoke about grandma, anytime you were talking to her on the phone, I also saw a certain joy and childlike reaction from you. And I was intrigued by that as well. And I knew that she nourished you in a particular way that was just so unexplainable. But when I experienced her myself, I felt the same nurturing, and she, nourished
and love.
Yeah, she nourished our soul, like not only our physical bellies, but our hearts and our spirits, everything. And so anyway, I share all that to say, I really thought about all that yesterday, and I was like, man, it's amazing how just spending time with her and being intentional about watching how much of an impact she had on your life, it allowed me to also understand and learn more about what that looked like, right? In my learning process was being around her, actually learning, specific things that I could action, but there's something about her spirit and her energy that I also learned from. And I knew that learning that also would just help me to bring certain experiences to you. And so it really I thought about, like you said, you talked about it earlier during our series on 25 lessons from 25 years of marriage. And I was like, man, we have been, without even talking about it in detail, students of each other. Whether we sought out the people we thought could help us learn more about each other, about the specific topics, about the things you like, the things you don't like. And I thought, man, it's amazing when you take the time to do that. So we should talk about it, right? So I think we should just get into what are some of the things that you actually feel like you have been very intentional about learning about me. And maybe we talk about it from a different phases in our life, right? Because being a student of your partner, it doesn't start when you're married. It starts when you're dating, right? Mm-hmm. So we dated. We were just girlfriend and boyfriend. Then we were, engaged. Then our next role was like parenting. So co-parent partnerships. How have we studied each other in that role? And then also just being married and going through our own life cycles, right? Regardless to what it was, going to school, doing different things, grief, me losing my parents and you journeying through that with me, you losing your father, like different things. So you can pick whatever in this current phase of aging and learning about our hormones and stuff like that, health, right? But all of these instances give us an opportunity to be a student. And then that process, you're actually learning and trying to figure out how do you support, how do you engage, etc. So maybe just start there. Maybe, and I gave one example, but I have plenty of examples of what I've done to try to be a student of you and learning about you and how that has helped me be a better partner to you.
I think it's all about growth with yourself, growth with your partner. When you connect with someone on a different level than it's just surface, you grow because you like, okay, I'm gonna give you an example. I thought about this the other day. Grease, right? The movie Grease. At the end, John Travolta's character, what was it, Danny, he earned his Letterman sweater, right? And so all of his friends was like, Danny was like, what are you doing? He's like, man, I'm just trying to change for Sandy, man,
Yes.
And then you hear a whistle and everybody's like, oh, who's this hot chick? And it's Sandy. So their roles reversed, right? Now they went off in the sky, and as a child you're like, okay, you see it, you're like, that's it. But as an adult, you're like, okay, how did those roles actually work? Did they meet in the middle? Did they become kind of good, kind of thuggish,
Right.
Because they wanted to work for one another.
Right.
And so you change as a person. I know as a man, even though I was a man, I was still childish in a lot of ways, and I had to grow into that. So seeing how you were, and I'm like, I need to catch up with you. We talked about this the other day as well. When we met and I came to visit you for the weekend.
Yeah. And
you were like, I'm going to church. You can come with me if you want. And I'm like, I'm here. Like, don't you want to stay and like entertain me?
Right.
But, you were like, hey, I'm going. And I'm like, well, shoot, I need to go and see what this church is about, And because of that, you put me on my own journey because I went to Catholic school, in elementary school, high school, and I still wasn't I'm not a fan of religion now that I'm old enough to understand, but I'm definitely a believer, but I wasn't a fan of going to church and stuff like that. But with you, I'm like, well, maybe I need to look at this differently, through a different lens. So I think maturity definitely is something that you learn from your spouse. And again, we could be looking at different seasons. Right. Because we go through different seasons, like what you just talked about, us boyfriend and girlfriend, fiancés, newlyweds, parenthood. Now we have adult children. We're not empty nesters, but, they still hanging around the nest, but we like so.
Yes.
We like them.
They're productively nesting.
Yeah, there we go. So they can stay as long as we like them.
Yeah. No, I love how you brought up. I did think it was fascinating going back to when we were just dating and like being the student, right? It was always hilarious to me that I knew you were here Friday through Monday. I think Monday morning or something for that first time you came to visit me. So we met in 97, and the first time we saw each other after 97, just kind of in passing, we saw each other in 99 April. So it had been almost about 2 years.
Yeah.
And we had talked on the phone, just, chit chat, chopping it up as friends. So when you came, I was like, oh, well, let me take you here. And then, then you made a move on me on Saturday. That was a quick move. And I was like, oh, wow. When we were friends, you came in on Friday, right? I came up to your room because, I was working at the hotel as well. Came up to your room, checked you in and everything. But once he made that move on me on Saturday that, got a little too close, he was like, well, why don't you come up to the room? I was like, absolutely not. I will not be entering your hotel room for the duration of your stay. and I'll get to that in just a second. But I thought it was you were like, oh, well, I'm going to be leaving. And I said, oh, yeah, we'll spend time together Sunday. And then I said, right after church. And you were like, church? I said, yeah. Would you like to go with me? You said, you look like I wasn't planning on. I thought we were spending time together. I was like, yeah, I'll come see you. So you can either come to church with me or I can pick you up after church. And you were like, it was hilarious. You were like, well, I'll be there. Let me think about this. Yeah. You were like, okay, well, let me look. I think you actually said, well, oh yeah, I'll go to church. Let's see what this is about. Right. And which I thought was fascinating. And then after church, it was also interesting to see you go, too bad. I'm happy I came. And then you, like you said, you went on your own journey to really learn about church and just, everything, and have your own relationship, with the Lord yourself. But I thought it was fascinating because you were like, if you're interested, I'm intrigued to figure out why you would be so interested in this. Like you said, well, I'm in town. Yeah. Like, I just busted that move on you on Saturday.
You're supposed to be entertaining me.
And so I thought that was fascinating. And I think the biggest thing, like you said, being with someone when you decide to invest, it does help you grow. Because the thing is, you're thinking outside of yourself. That, initially, I think we're all on default to think about ourselves. So like you saying, absolutely. Well, I'm in town. We both know I'll only be here for a couple more hours, But obviously you were saying for us to spend time together, not just so you could, I could cater to you or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's always interesting to really figure out, okay, if I am invested in this person, not so that I can get them to do what I want, not in a manipulative or a malicious kind of way, but really intrigued to see who are you? Who is this person that I'm interested in? How do they think? How do they move? What are some characteristics that they find to be valuable about themselves? What are things that they haven't even noticed about themselves? How do they interact with other people, right? Who are they with their family? Who are they with their friends? Just to see what they are about. I think that's such a fascinating adventure to go on. And if you think of it like that, it's good. And if you can reciprocate it like we have, then you already laid the foundation of something that we'll use over and over and over again in life. Like we can use it anytime. Like, look at Koole being a dad. Oh, he look good being a dad. Let me see what he's working with, right? It's always something there's always something new to learn about you. So anyway, I think that's fascinating. Yeah. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, and then going through seasons like we talked about, there's always something, you just said it pretty much, there's always something new to learn going through these seasons because perfect example, you are going through a whole new season. You're going through a metamorphosis now. Look, she's about to bust out the fan.
Listen, this is a quick marketing commercial for this fan. And if I had my glasses, I would tell you what it says. I don't know. But you can find this on Amazon. My sister told me about it. If you're going through perimenopause or menopause or postmenopausal, this is your fan. Men, boyfriends, sons, this is essential, right? You have to have a good fan that you give someone during this time of life. And it can't be a fan that blows in or blows out hot air. This comes equipped with cold air. I don't know where in the hell it comes from, but when I feel it, it feels good. Anyway, that's the end of my commercial. Go ahead and tell them how you have been really, really having to go through this new journey with me.
And how I have to navigate pretty much.
What you've been learning. I love that. I love that you take the time to learn. You go ahead. Tell the people.
So this is a season for the both of us, but I'm subjected to various things, but seeing what these guys talk about their wives and how they get talked about or treated, I think I'm still in a very good position. So I'm not complaining. I'm here just to be a student. How can I help? What can I do so you won't curse me out? But she will freeze me out. I will tell you that much right now, because at any given moment, the temperature in the house is going down with each passing day. So
it is. This is all a study. I'm telling everybody in this house, guys, according to statistics, if the temperature is low, then we all rest better. That's the research I've been.
That's the word on the street, but I have not confirmed that as far as the rest. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it's just, you're always learning love languages. Is another thing, learning your person's love language and how that may change depending on the season that they're in. And I think when you get in a relationship, like a serious relationship versus, like, we all get into relationships, right? And I think we learn more about ourselves. Hopefully, if you're smart, you learn more about yourself and you're able to admit what you think is good and bad about yourself and who you're attracted to. Because I know growing up, my type of girl was pretty much the lyric of LL Cool J. I want a girl with extensions in her hair, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair.
A Fendi bag with a bad attitude.
That's all I need to get me in a good mood. But that is surface.
Yes.
That won't help me when I'm struggling. She got the bad attitude and the bamboo earrings. That doesn't help anybody.
At the wrong time.
Yeah, at the wrong time. And I think a lot of times guys, I think women do it too, but I can definitely speak from a guy's perspective. What our type is physical. It's not how could she make me, or how can I become a better person with her. We don't think like that until you start running into those girls. You're like, you know what, this ain't as fun as I thought it would be. This chick is crazy. It was sexy when it was good, but now that she is against me, is not so much. Side note, funny story, and I hate to put his business out here, but our son was interested in a girl, and she wasn't his type. But I think this is going back to, we get intrigued by, like, the negative. It doesn't, it's like a magnet that don't connect. And it's like we still want to chase it, but it still keeps running away from us. And so he's like, I feel challenged. So anyway, he goes out with the girl and he finds out how she is when it's not cool. When he don't think it's sexy.
It's not attractive anymore.
They go to a restaurant and she's loud. She's like disrespectful to the waiter. And he's like, I was embarrassed. And so he's like, nah, we had to dead that. And
let me just plug for my son also, for our son. We're loud people. It was the fact that she was unkind. Our son does not, he's in sales. He's a very kind person. He's the one that we gotta say
good-hearted individual.
If we're walking on the street, he's like, oh well, let's help, whatever. So to have her just be abrupt and disrespectful to strangers, he was like, all right, that's a bit much. Keep going.
So pretty much that was a lesson for him. So he learned something about himself. He's like, you know what, this ain't my type of girl, I'm not gonna go for her. And then he winds up reconnecting with his current girlfriend because they were friends through elementary school, high school. Once high school was over, I don't think they seen each other, maybe talked occasionally like we did. But then there was a little reunion of one of the mutual high school friends. They had something over at the house. They seen each other and the sparks flew. So now they are great. We love her here.
Yes.
Her parents love him.
Yes.
Is a great connection. And so this is something that he learned from. And he's like, this is what I like. And I'm going to stick with what I like.
And the other thing, and I think that it's important because this is all about the topic. Like, if you are just talking to someone, just they're a possible prospect and you haven't even went that far. I don't care if it's on a dating app. I don't care if it is, in person, whatever the case may be. If they haven't given you anything intriguing for you to even want to study, right? Why are you even talking to them? You see what I'm saying? Like, so like it's kind of like if the subject in class is too easy, you ain't
bored,
really, you're like, I mean, it's fun until it's not. You're like, I'm gonna skip this class. Let me go to something else. I mean, that's what I would do. That's why they used to say fast JFA, come a day, miss a day in class. Anyway, we'll move on from that. But like, what are the topics or subjects, like if you want to put it in the context of like things that you study and you learn, we should be after in studying the things that we're intrigued with, things that connect with us, right? Things that innately draw our interest. Like you said, when we are attracted to something that seems fun, but we don't assess what it is, right? It's going to cost us. It's like, is it an investment or is it a cost? And that's what you have to really think about. And so with both of our kids, we do ask, like, what are your non-negotiables? So when our son did date that girl, and then he came back and we all talked about it, and he shared that. My question was, hey, well, wait a minute, let's kind of go back to just some of your non-negotiables, that we could talk about the top 3 or 4, or 3 to 5. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm not interested. I was like, yeah, no, let's do it. Let's talk about that. Not to throw it in his face, but because we are their,
sounding board.
We're their sounding boards. You move from a parental role kind of to an advisor role as your kids get older, ideally. And so it's just like, hey, I'm just your journey partner talking to you. So what were some of your non-negotiables? Oh, did she meet that? No. Okay, but you continue to proceed. Pursue
like,
her.
That's a red flag. Hey,
he was like,
this must be a carnival.
Right. He was like, let's do it. It's about time. And then he had it flagged up like, help.
Yeah, he had the white flag. Like, no.
Right.
Save me.
But it's kind of like you got to figure that out. Like, am I interested in it? If there's something in the class or in that experience that challenges you, you have to think about, why does this challenge me? Why am I interested in this? What is it going to cost me if I invest? What is the return on investment, right? And I'm not saying it like it's all about you, but I give more of me when I feel like it's something that innately aligns with who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That I don't have to force it. So when I was interested in looking into you, and I was like, oh man, I love the way you speak. I love his voice. I love your accent. These are all surface things. They can start at surface, but does it grow to have some depth at some point in time?
Yes.
Because that's all, I used to say to my friends when you would call and leave me a voicemail, I'd be like, listen to him. Doesn't he sound cute? They were like, okay, Shay, yeah, okay. But like that type of thing. And then when you came here for the first time, I was like, oh, I like the way he walks. Oh, his walk is so nice. Very surface, very elementary, right?
Yeah.
But over time, it grew into other things. We talked about, you went to Catholic school. I didn't start going to church I went to church a little bit just to check out the prospects of guys when I was younger.
And then the food, you said.
And the food, absolutely. I go but food after church, if you know what I mean, when you used to go to church, you used to go out to eat afterwards, okay? And so, but once I got older, I think my senior year, I actually started going to church more regularly and then gave my life to Christ. And then I decided to rethink about some of the things that I did in my life. And I wanted to do relationships differently. I knew that about me, right? I knew that. And so when we started talking, and this is something also that a part of your student learning dynamic that you have to put into play. When we started talking and you started sharing your interest in me, I then wanted to know, what your thoughts were, what intrigued you, what you liked in a relationship, what you were looking for, what didn't work for you. Some people I hear now, I listen to a lot of podcasts and different social media things. People will say, oh, well, don't give them all your cards. Don't share this. Don't do that. But like you do have to be, have a level of discernment. But it's important that you understand and evaluate the course of the friendship or relationship, and then you share as appropriate, right?
Yes.
And so I know we got to the point where when we talked about being intimate, having sex and things of that nature, I told you straight up, yeah, I'm not a virgin. However, I'm a born again virgin. I will not be having sex moving forward until I get married, right?
Yeah.
You looked at me like, interesting, and moved right along. But then you asked more questions. We talked about it. And I shared with you why I felt like that was what way I wanted to go. And I said, it was just something that I firmly believed that I was supposed to be doing in this part of my life. Now, I gave you all that insight, right? So that you can make an educated decision. You were intrigued.
Yeah.
You were like, interesting. Now, I think you're intrigued. I was about to say a word that doesn't exist. I tend to make up words. I think your interest was like, let me see how far this can go. Initially, I think you were like that. Like, interesting. Let's see how long she can keep this one up.
Yeah, or if I lose interest, then just move on.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I love this girl. So hey, whatever. I'm willing to go all the way.
Yeah.
And, we talked about that like in length.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, hey, okay, so this is what it is. But I promise you, once we get married, you'll be happy. And look at us, 25 years later. I'm definitely happy. So,
Yes. And I think, I never said this before, but I think when I came to visit you the first time, that after you came here to visit and you learned about my family and everything, then I came to Atlanta because you were living there. And I learned about you, and you introduced me to your family. I saw more about you. I saw how you interacted with your family. But the funny part I was going to share is we learned a lot about each other during that visit because it was super spontaneous. It was, there was the amazing and hilarious thing to me, but it was so telling for me about your personality. When you brought me to your apartment and you opened up the door, you were like, and this is my humble abode.
There we go.
Here it is. And I saw that TV on that milk carton.
And my love seat.
And your love seat.
Not even a whole couch.
Not even.
A love seat only made for 2 people.
And then you said, what confidence? And then you showed me, and this is where we will be sleeping. And it was the bunk bed. Why I loved it is that then told me something else about you. Like you weren't caught up in your pride. You know what I mean? You were just unapologetically you. And you were like, hey, this is it.
You
were
is
like,
what it
this
is.
mine,
I don't care.
and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And that told me that if you could be like that by yourself, if we were together, there was no pressure to be anything other than myself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that is important for you to understand. But again, if I was not attentive to how you move, like even the little things, right? You weren't performative for me. Yes, you could have knocked it out the park. Hey, she's coming only from Friday until Sunday. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. To make a presentation and a facade to impress me for a short period of time. But you did not. You said, this is what I got. You can sleep on the bottom bunk, which was a full size. I'll sleep on the
Hey, it is what it was.
And you did not even, to the littlest details, you guys, he did not even, when I looked in his refrigerator, he had mustard, I think he had one beer.
Beer, yeah.
And then in the
Corona.
Freezer, you had, I think, a pack or 2 of whiting fish, which I had never heard of.
I'll say, you never had that before.
Because being from Seattle, I know I had cod a lot. I was like, what is whiting? And you were like, oh, man. But I was like, you don't even got nothing else to cook with it.
I'm, again, single guy. That's pretty much my apartment. And they say, guys think this is normal. Yes, we do.
Oh, you were like, look, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And I think it's amazing because, once again, all of those different experiences say something. But you have to be willing to understand that you're a student. You're not only a person experiencing a situation. You are actually, it is an experience, but what can you learn from it, right? So what am I learning about his personality? I'm not just with him, on a weekend having a good time, but what does this weekend and every encounter tell me about him? I think that's how we identify the green flags, which we talked about last Monday, right? About how do you spot the green flags? We wanted to do that because we know oftentimes people talk about how to spot the red flags. Well, let's kind of focus our attention on how do you really spot the green flags? But you sometimes have to be attentive because the big and the small equally matter. And so watching how you moved in that space and how proud you were of just what you had said a lot to me, and it spoke to your character. Like, now you got the voice, which I'm loving. You got the smooth walk. You are absolutely gorgeous. And, I've always said that. And you are unapologetically yourself, and you invite me to do that. Like, those are big deals.
Yeah.
Right? For me, though, I was like, wow. And then seeing how you didn't try to be performative when we went to certain people. So I didn't have any pressure to, like, be a particular kind of way. Like, oh, we're going to my grandma's house. You're like, oh, relax. Like, if I was uptight, you were like, oh, relax. It's okay. This is what's about to happen, And so it's like you need that. It's important to understand who you're dealing with, because again, while you're a student of someone, they're also teaching you how to journey with them alongside them, right? So then I became I was learning how to not only be, being a student, but I was learning how to be a partner at the same time, because you were teaching me, hey, this is what vibes with me. And if it vibed with me, then when we journey together and we're partnering, we're in alignment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but the other piece I was going to share that I hadn't shared before, I believe that at that apartment, God also gave you a foreshadow of this perimenopause phase. That's what I believe. Because I came on Friday, we were hitting the streets, we hung out everywhere, and then Saturday we were hanging out, and then Sunday I was leaving. Now, y'all, I told you I was trying to hold on tight, because I told him not until I got married, but I was like, what in the hell, Shay? How is this going to work? You're going to come to his house in Atlanta, stay at his house, and have all this attraction. And then he did try to woo me, y'all. He did. He got me chocolate covered strawberries. He ran a nice, I'm telling all our business.
Yeah.
He ran a nice bathwater. Listen, I'm putting this out there. This is a tip. I had never really seen a garden tub, which are the circular tubs, because that's just not where I didn't see him where I grew up. So when I went to his apartment and he had it, I was so excited. So on that Saturday, he drew me a bath, floating candles, you guys, floating candles, beautiful. And towels, which I still have to this day. Maybe I'll bring them out and show them, that were embroidered "My Queen." I said, oh man, he about to get some tonight. He about to get it. Oh,
Gonna
Lord.
be like,
yeah, it was about to go down. I said, oh my Lord. I was in the bathroom when he said,
what happened?
I talked to the Lord too. I said, oh Lord, I just, I know we talked about this, but this is a situation, and I enjoyed my bath and everything, but then I started having these cramps, and my cycle in my situation ever since, I was young, has always been very intense, to where there was sometimes very debilitating, where I couldn't really move. And that was one of those times. I mean, we were stuck on his from after I got out the bath to I think about 3 or 4 in the morning, stuck on the couch because I couldn't move, because my stomach was in knots. He was like, what can I do? Can I help you? And he went to the store, you got stuff, and then came back, and we stayed on that love seat until I had to leave that next morning to come back to Texas. Mm-hmm. And you guys, we'll talk about this more, but in a little more structure. But I felt so bad because you stayed up all night, and that wasn't the way I'm sure we thought the night would end, considering. Planned. Yes.
But with things like that, you see somebody's true character.
You do.
And so that either pushes you along to be like, I really like this person, we can get along, or like, I'm never going to be in this situation again.
Absolutely.
So I think that was a good test for us.
It was.
And when we helped your mom move to Texas, that was a good test, right?
Yeah.
I think we passed with flying colors.
Yes, because so then we left, and then I came back to Texas, and then my mom decided to move here. Well, you decided to move here to be with me as well. And then my mom was like, hey, I'm going to move to Texas too. And so we had never been around each other for an extended period of time. And so I said, hey, you want to come up to Seattle and help me drive my mom's stuff back from Seattle? Drive from Seattle to Texas is a big deal with the U-Haul. Yeah. That only went, what was it 60?
65. It had a governor on it. That was the limit.
And boy, let me tell you, I went there with a ponytail back in the day you guys know back in the day you had those updos where your hair was slicked up and you had the bun right here, and then my bangs were like a swoop, and they were real nice and to the skin. It was looking good. Boy, those bobby pins, after a while, I was trying to look cute, and we had the conversation going. Every state we went through, a little more of that ponytail came off. I had this little turd on top of my head. I looked like a straight up crackhead in that car. I was like, look, hey, I'm gonna get you sucker. Everything started coming off. And then we started talking about things, because that was 3 or 4 days. No social media. We didn't have smartphones or anything. Stuff that people say they wouldn't do, basic things like passing gas and doing that. Those things happen. And I was like, oh, we're so embarrassed. But they're like, hell, shoot, this is what it is. We together.
And those were pretty much,
yes,
good tests for us to see how each person really was, under pressure.
Yes, and under pressure, funny situations, things that may annoy you that you didn't think about, that you didn't talk about, right? Somebody's not going to tell you something that they do that another, person said was annoying, because it just may not come up. But if you're around another person that long, it's important for you to pay attention, because you can say, can I deal with this or can I not deal with this? And so it just really, those times help you realize, okay, I really like this person. I like how they move. I like their character. I'm invested in knowing who they are. And that's the foundation of what we wanted to share today, is really think about those things, right? Think about, if I'm invested in this person, I'm intrigued, then I want to continue to invest and learn about them as a student. And then I want to also be an effective partner with that. And so because we already know how to do that, it was easier to do when it came to, like, let me see how you operate as a father. Which, hands down, watching you as a father, which was a couple of episodes ago, has been one of the biggest blessings for me, because I didn't grow up with my father present. I was blessed with bonus fathers, but like to see a man be intentionally invested in their children, make you want to give them some more. But let me tell you, I had my tubes tied, so that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I was saying, you can give me some more, but not any more children. No
more children. But if something happened, look, because hey, if something happened, these kids, whoever pops up in this belly, is going straight to Asia and Jaden, because that is who's going to be their parents. That's what's about to happen. That's our plan.
Like deuces.
Yeah, we got stuff to do. Take these kids. Y'all still here nesting.
There we go.
But yeah, I think it's just watching that. So that then became something that was intriguing for me, is to watch you be a father, right? Man, that's amazing how he moves. Even not knowing that your father wasn't present, but you working with what you had, you learning, especially when I had to travel a lot as a father of a girl trying to do her hair, like you were trying to get her all fashioned up. Just like watching the intentionality in that was so... it was so beautiful to see, but it's also very, very sexy to see that in a man, that they take care of their responsibility. Hence is why I don't really understand a lot of women, will have another conversation, who invest in men that are completely disengaged and disregard their children. Yeah. I don't understand how that even happens, but it's different when they're pushed out of their children's life. But when they have decided not to be engaged, that is extremely unattractive. But that's another conversation. Now that I see you aging, getting older, and the grace you have with it, and how you're intentional about your health, you are intentional about working out, you actually listen to your wife and cooperate. Find that very sexy and very intriguing. But I love to learn about those things. I think it's important for us to stay just connected, as you're learning about my perimenopause and all of the, I'm constantly saying, and my estrogen and my testosterone and my progesterone, this is how they're all balanced, and this and that. But also, meanwhile, I also ask you, okay, so how are you feeling? How, let's get your everything checked. I'm like, let's get you an appointment to see this or do that. But you also are a man that actually, you're intentional yourself, so I don't have to push that much. So I think that's good. But again, I saw that in you when we were dating. You have just consistently shown that intentionality about whatever role you have. You've been invested. I saw it then. So I knew I was invested in someone that knew how to also be a student of what he was interested in, and also how to be a partner. I knew you knew how to do that by watching you. And so I only watch because I'm a student.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we want to learn and grow with one another. And that's the best thing you can do is get an understanding of your partner and enjoy that journey as much as you can, because it's not for everyone. It's always not enjoyable. We all have the intentions of saying I do and having a great marriage. But, a lot of marriages end up in divorce for various reasons. Mm-hmm. It could be infidelity. It could be, what we talked about, the the great divorce.
Yeah.
For the women going through menopause, and like his breath,
breathing.
it irritates me. And so, pray that we never get to that point, but we just keep reciprocating how we feel for one another and just keep enjoying each other. So that's all we can pray for and work on it together, because it can't just, words without actions is dead. So we have to do what we have to do and take that journey together. Keep it moving.
And most of the things that I would say a lot of the things that come in between a marriage, especially if it's outside, oftentimes it's because you don't frame it like this, or we don't frame it like this. You become invested or a student of something outside of your marriage.
Yes, and it grabs your attention and takes you away.
So that means that we all know 100% is 100%, right? So if I am 100% invested in this and in him, if divert some of that interest somewhere else, then 100 can't be going here.
Yeah.
That means that 10 goes here, and whatever you feed grows. And so that's what ends up happening, but it's going to take from something, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to figure out how you want your investments, what you're going to be a student of, what you're going to invest in, what you're going to be a partner to. And understand, is it an investment, something that you will have a good return on, or is it going to cost you something that you don't want to pay? And oftentimes it costs more than what you want to pay. And so the biggest takeaway that we would encourage everyone to really kind of think of and leave us comments around is, are you a student of the person you're with? Are you a student? Are you taking time to learn about who they are in this space, right? Their mental health, their emotional, physical, their other relationship dynamics. Are they willing to let you in? Because that's another time. Sometimes people are not necessarily willing to let the other person in. That's another conversation to have. Do you reciprocate it? Why are you wanting to be a student? Do you want to be a student just so they can be a student to you? Because you got to be honest. Like, I'm only doing this because I want you to be interested in me. Well, that's not a good... That intention doesn't work, because really you're doing it for you. So you're really at the core invested in yourself, and you want others to do that too. So it's really stop playing with yourself, stop playing in your own face, and stop playing in other people's face, and really figure out, what is it that I want out of this relationship? If I just want to be friends and be surface, then that is what it is. What we've talked about before is that sometimes when you are straight up with people, they're like, cool, I'm willing to be that. Although oftentimes they're playing in your face and lying, because let it go too long and they're like, oh, they want more. They always want to change the terms of the relationship. So that's another topic, right? But yeah, just like tell us your thoughts about, do you feel like you've been a student? If you haven't, what could you do to be more attentive and really be more invested in the relationship that you're in? Do you feel like your spouse or your partner is invested in you? If not, how do you articulate that and communicate it? There are a lot of different things that you can do to reconnect, to get a better interest in each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so at some point we'll talk about some
that
things
in the future. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Especially if we get y'all's feedback and y'all let us know what you think about it.
All right. Well, that's so just keep us posted. Let us know, especially the young people. This is again a public service announcement. Young and old, forget about that, because I know maturity is not based on age.
Yeah.
Just when you're dating, really take time to assess and ask yourself, is this somebody that I'm even interested in learning about, right? If I can only stand one dinner date and I'm barely hanging on, this is not an interest.
If I'm always on my phone when they're around, then
this is not an interesting subject, right?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all.
So
yeah, guys. Until next time, next Monday, we will see y'all. Until then, y'all be safe. Catch you later.
See you later.